Hello, and good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. And it looks like a majority of us on today's call are on mute. If you'd like to come off of mute, you can. I'm just going to turn my camera on so everyone can see who I am. There we go. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Yvette Chibuika Tusangaire. For everyone who's coming on board for the Learn Lusoga lesson, we really took this initiative, the Twegaite team, to make this opportunity available to the community for people who want to learn and continue being inspired by our culture. And today we have our teacher, Professor Andrew Buiso, who is on the line. He has volunteered his time to teach the community and help us improve or learn. Even if you're starting from zero, this is really a great opportunity for you to learn the language and the culture. And it's really a very open environment. So feel free to come off of mute, speak up, share your thoughts, ask lots of questions. So definitely recite or say the words that you're hearing out loud. And we do plan on taking it slow at a good pace. But without me taking all the thunder from our call today, because I know we're starting a little after the hour, I'd like to pass the mic to Andrew Buiso, and I'm going to share some PowerPoint slides and move them along for you, Andrew. So Andrew, feel free to come off of mute so we can hear from you.
Hello, everyone. Let me enable my video so that you get to see the person speaking. So they know, yeah, since this is going to be more of learning Lusoga, so I'll keep it in any time, and I hope you'll enjoy it or you like it. You want to see the person speaking? I don't know. Are you seeing me? Is everyone seeing me?
No, we don't see your video on, but we can hear you. The audio is kind of choppy, but we can hear. Yes, now we can see you.
Oh, wow. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm privileged to take you through this. And this being our first encounter on Zoom, I want to make it and honestly pray that the Lord makes it so wonderful, so that each other time that we organize such event will be looking forward to getting started on it. So I will come each and everyone once again. We saw I'm Soga from the Roy clan and currently in Uganda in Lusoga. Yeah, that's pretty the introduction about me. So without wasting any more time, I love volunteering so much, love working with people and working with people more so to sell our culture and our language. And that's why when this opportunity came through, I couldn't take a second thought. I just decided to jump on board. So I hope you like everything that we are going to learn today. So when you check on our slides, have you shared the slides yet? Is that what everyone is seeing?
Yes.
If it is, is that what everyone is seeing? Hello, Yvette.
I'm sorry, Andrew, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I'll be reading through the messages. We are going to get started with the first slide.
Andula.
Are you hearing me now?
Okay, yes.
Okay, yeah. Evie, could you share the slides and get back to that? And all right.
Can everyone see the slides?
Wow. Okay.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, those are the facilitators. The upfront one is me. That's Andrew, the one speaking, being helped by our president, His Excellency Peter Mukunya, Mr. Emmanuel Varwana. I don't know whether they've all joined yet, but those are the facilitators in Lusoga. We call them above. So we are the ones that joke with the meeting, and wow, yeah, I can see some of those. Yeah. Okay. So the scope, which is translated in our local language, that omugano gwa leero. Omugano gwa leero, that is literally today's scope. We've had the introduction, which is translated as Enandula. Enandula is introduction of what we are doing today. We started by introducing the facilitator, and since I'm charged with taking us through this, I did introduce myself, and at some point I'll ask you that question. You're checking back on the slides whether you still remember my names, because in Lusoga, we always remember each and everything from childhood, and those are the ones which define our norms as we grow up. So the next thing that we are doing, that is our topic today. We are going to cover 3 things. We are going to cover greetings, how we greet in Lusoga, how greeting is considered in Lusoga culture, and that is translated as Okulamusa. Okulamusa is greeting. When someone says Jola Muse or Ndikuja Kulamusa, it means the person is going to greet. Or Mazo Kulamusa, it means the person has finished greeting. So that is what we're going to cover today. And then about families. Families in Lusoga, we call them Amaka or Endu. But the most common word is Amaka to mean family. But our Lusoga language is a very rich language, where sometimes it's hard to differentiate between singular and plural. Because if it's still one home, we call it Amaka. And even if there are many homes, we still call them Amaka. So let that not confuse you. These are the translation for family. Then we will also briefly discuss about the family composition. That is translated into abaganibwa mu maka or abaganibwa mundu, the people we find in a home. And the cultures do not differ a lot, but we are looking at understanding our culture so that sometimes we may sell it wherever we are. I appreciate where you people are. You can sell our culture. It's a very rich culture. It's a very rich, and through it, you will have the relationships that you come for. That's why we wanted to end relationships, meaning Olugan. How will you call each other, like the people you're related to, ranging from aunties, from father, from mother. So that is Oluganda. And then lastly, we will do an A, which is translated as ebibuzo no kwanukula. Ebibuzo is the questions, and kwanukula are the answers. So I think that has been quite a detailed briefing of what we are covering today. Yvette, please go to the next slide. Yes, is everyone getting me?
Yes.
There might be a slight delay, Andrew, on your side, and maybe the slide has not refreshed yet on your page.
If the next slide.
It now says
Wow,
introduction.
excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. So as I briefed you about the introduction, which is translated as Enana. We from Lusoga are called Lusoga, and then our language is called Lusoga. So Lusoga is the native dialect spoken by us, the Vasoga, wherever we are. Our language, the native one, is called Lusoga. And we, the Vasoga, are among the many tribes belonging to the Bantu ethnic group. That is some pretty much history there. But the Bantu ethnic group comprises quite a number of other tribes. We, the Vasoga, are among them. And then, for us, we are based in Lusoga sub-region. That sub-region entails, rather, accommodates 11 districts. That will be a topic of some other day. And those districts are within Eastern Uganda. So Soga sub-region is one of the sub-regions that make up the greater Eastern Uganda. And we, the Basoga, organized under chiefdoms. Those chiefdoms are still 11 in number, and they're the ones which merge to form the Lusoga kingdom, which is our heritage. And our kingdom has a rich, interesting culture. And among our treasures is our leader, whom we others call king, but in Lusoga we call him the Chavazinga. The Chavazinga is a name or a title in Lusoga referring to our king. I hope you're following. And where we are getting to. Okay. I've got the message.
And Andrew, as you're sharing,
can you hear me now?
Yes, that is
messages. Much. Can you hear me now?
That is much better.
Yes, we do. Thank you.
You get me now? Yes, if you just wave out, I'm seeing if you're getting me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Sorry. Okay.
And before we move to the next slide.
The network. And I don't know, can you hear me well now?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, and I've progressed to the next slide.
Okay, are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Susan, I got the complaint. Are you getting me well now? I've switched off my video.
Yes, we hear you better. Thank you, Andrew.
Okay. Okay. Evie.
Yes. We
Okay.
can hear you.
Yeah. We move to the next slide, which is greeting. Greeting or kulamusa. Greeting, just like all other tribes and cultures, we the Lusoga esteem greeting so much. It is considered a core sense of humor and a sign of respect. Actually, here, if you bypass an old person or an elder without greeting them, then there are a lot of bad things considered about you, like you're disrespectful, you're bad mannered, or your upbringing is not worth. So we esteem greeting so much and consider it a sign of respect, honor, and discipline. Greeting in Lusoga is also a sign of having good morals. When a neighbor, or you bypass a neighbor, or you greet your parents, or anyone you come across, they consider you a very disciplined person. They consider you a well-behaved person. And it's also the first thing we do when we meet other people. You can't say, oh, okay. Yeah, we will have that at the end of the slides. I've seen that. So it's the first thing we do when we meet other people. If we can kindly share the next slide.
Yes.
I hope you're getting me now. Okay. We have greeting formalities, but here we balamusa. When we get to the spelling, that will be some other time. But here we balamusa. Or when someone says balamusa batia, or batia we balamusa, it is literally meaning the greeting formalities, or our formalities of greeting, how we greet in simple terms. Yes, Evie, I'm counting on you. Share the next slide, please. Next slide. Okay.
Yes.
There are some key things that you need to know or to understand or to bear in mind when it comes to what and how we greet. For the women or the girls, in Lusoga, we call women abakazi. That's a very respectful title. It's a title of respect. Bamama Beiwanga, the mothers of the nation, abakazi. And then the girls are called abawala. So in Lusoga, traditionally, women and girls kneel down before greeting. Before greeting, women and girls kneel down. And then as they are greeting, or while greeting, they are down kneeling, rather we greet while kneeling. That's for the mothers, the women, the girls, even young children, as long as she is female. Traditionally, they kneel before greeting, and then they greet while kneeling. Thank you, Evie. We would love to know what men do. So eager to check the next slide. The next slide. Wow. I pronounce the word abakazi. That is, the pronunciation is literally the same way. We the Basoga pronounce words the same way they are written. So the spelling, the pronunciation, or the sound as it comes out, abakazi. Don't go to I know that there could be a problem of accent somehow, but you need to put in mind the pronunciation of those words, and we will detail more on them some other day, but we just wanted to pick out the special one, the mothers of the nation, abakazi. Wherever you are, please pronounce it. I may not hear you, but just pronounce it, abakazi. Wow, excellent. You perfect that one. Let's go to the next slide, Divi.
And right before we move to the next slide, would a few people want to take a try at pronouncing the word?
Abakazi.
Sometimes in my audio it works.
We'd love to know how men greet.
Alan, that's good. That sounds wonderful.
Thanks. Thanks, Yvette.
Anyone else want to give it a
Can you
try?
kindly share the next slide?
Yes.
Maybe as we get to that slide, the men in Lusoga, we humble ourselves when we meet others, most especially elders, and as we are greeting them, we bow ourselves, we bow down. Yes, even I'm on the next slide, how men greeting formalities, how the men in Lusoga do it.
Yes, I have forwarded the slide.
Wow. The men and the boys who in Soga are called Abasada. The men are called Abasada. And then the boys are called Abaisuka. Abaisuka. You know, Lusoga has been diluted somehow. Other people find it easy calling boys Abalenzi. It means the same thing. But if we are writing the Lusoga, it's called, the boys are called Abaisuka. So the boys stand and humble themselves while folding arms together, and then they bow as they greet. We said the women greet while kneeling. So for us, the boys, you bow a little as you greet. It is a sign of respect. It's a sign of humility. It's a sign of humbleness. So that's how the men do it. So now they're really greeting. How we greet, how we say good morning. How we say good morning in Lusoga, good morning has the same time limit, like up to noon. But oh, there is that general greeting that comes before even good morning or any other greeting. In Lusoga, we say kodeyo. It translates that perhaps there. Kodeyo is a very humbling word in Lusoga, because we are so mindful about others. We are so mindful about our community members. So it is very deserving to know how people are doing wherever they are coming from. So that's where we derive that general greeting of kodeyo. And then the response to is baliyo. Baliyo literally meaning they are there. Because it's that greeting is basically referring to the people that you've left back home. So if they are men, you say baliyo. If he's a man, you say baliyo sebo. If she's a woman, you say baliyo inavo. That is the really conclusoga. But somehow words are merging with the Luganda, so some people literally call it nyavo and sebo. But that I is silent in most cases. But when you're writing, that's how it's written. The response is when someone says kodeyo, you say baliyo isebo. If there are many, you say, if there are many men, you say baliyo basebo. If there are many women, you say baliyo bainabo. That's the general greeting. Then now there is that greeting of good morning. Yeah, Yvette, kindly share for me the next slide.
Yes, I have advanced the slide.
The next slide, yeah. Yeah, we want to know how we greet in Lusoga. After saying that general greeting of kodeyo basebo, you don't just end there. Like the way in the modern world, they say, good morning, and then someone, goes their way. But in Lusoga, we say kodeyo basebo. Then when someone responds, you go to now the good morning. Wasuzotia sebo. Good morning is literally it's a common word in every culture. There is a word that translates to good morning. So in Lusoga, we say wasuzotia. If it's a man, wasuzotia isebo. If it's a woman, you say wasuzotia mnyabo. And if there are many, you say mwasuzemutia baisebo or mwasuzemutia bainyabo. And then the response to those greetings is the same. Bulungi, if it's one man, when someone says wasuzotia sebo, then the response, if the person who has said that is a man, then you say bulungi sebo. If the person who said wasuzotia or good morning, who greeted you, is a woman, then you respond bulungi nyabo. And if there are many, you say bulungi baisebo. That is for men. And if there are many women, you say bulungi bainabo. That's how we greet. That's considered a very, very humbling way, and it's a sign of discipline. You meet someone, you say kodeyo, they respond, then good morning, you say wasuzotia sebo or wasuzotia nyabo. That is for one person. Even your dad, even your mom, when you wake up in the morning or meet them, when you're from your bedroom, after the first statement is wasuzotia sebo or wasuzotia nyabo. If there are many, you say mwasuzemutia basebo or mwasuzemutia banyabo. And then the response is bulungi sebo. The pronunciation of bulungi also differs with different people. Others say bulungi, and another one will say bulungi. I as a man will respond bulungi sebo. That is if it's a man who has greeted. If it's a woman, bulungi nyabo. Yeah. Then
And
the
Andrew?
afternoon. How do we greet in the afternoon? If it's afternoon.
Hey,
And
Andrew?
maybe some important information here. The afternoon and the evening are not differentiated in Lusoga. The afternoon and the evening are not differentiated in Lusoga, so the greeting is literally the same. Yes, Evie, have you shared the next slide?
Yes, I have advanced the next slide.
How we greet in the afternoon? Oh, wow, wonderful. Thank you, Yvette. In the afternoon, the English would say good afternoon, and that's it. But in Lusoga or in Busoga, by that time we assume someone has already spent part of that day. And so we are so inquisitive, we would love to know how that person has spent their early day or their morning. So we say, Osibiotia eyo, wherever they've been. Eyo meaning wherever they've been. So we ask, or we greet, Osibiotia eyo. If it's a man, you say, Osibiotia eyo sebo. If it's a woman, you say, Osibiotia eyo nyabo. And if there are many, you say, Musibye mutyeyo by sebo. And if there are women, you say Musibye mutyeyo by nabo. That is literally, Evie has highlighted Musibye mutya. That is meaning there are many. When it's not one person, when there are many. Musibye mutyeyo by sebo. And since we said I've briefed you that afternoon and evening are not that very different, still this greeting can even translate to the following day. If you meet people that you last saw yesterday, and so you meet them like in the afternoon, you ask them, you greet them that mwasibye mutyeyo. If it's one person, you say wasibye otyeyo sebo. How did you spend your day wherever you are? Or if there are many, you say mwasibye mutyeyo, but that will be clarified some other day. Today we are covering one person, and then when there are many, when it's that same day. So you say musibye mutyeyo by sebo, musibye mutyeyo by nyabo. And then the response to all those greetings, whether it's Osibye Otyeyo, Sebo, or Musibye Mutyeyo by Sebo, the response is Bulungi Sebo or Bulungi Nyabo. Then you also ask them, Osibye Otyeyo, because they started by greeting you. They started by asking, how have you been that side? So you say, fine, Bulungi. Then you also ask them, and how about you? So in Lusoga, we also repeat the same. So the greeting is very interesting because some people who don't understand our culture think we are just repeating the same words. Like Yvette has highlighted Bulungi, that's the response. Then you also proceed by asking them, actually, to be specific, you can add yeiwe sibyoteyo, yeiwe, yeiwe or meiwe, like it's yeiwe, like asking and you being specific to them. So when you say osibyoteyo sebo, then the person responds bulungi sebo, or if it's a woman bulungi nyabo, then the person goes ahead to also ask osibyoteyo. So you also respond in the same way. Then I've also had a good day. So that is how we greet in our afternoon, and then our evenings, literally the same way. Then there are additional greetings. Some people say with the Lusoga, when we are greeting, we don't want to stop. But it's just how much attachment we attach to people we meet. You've taken a day without meeting someone, or your dad has stayed away from you for a whole day, or your mama stayed away, or you've been away from them for some time. When you get to meet them, it's not just a good morning or good afternoon. You always desire to know how they've been, how they like what new thing is there and all that. So there are these additional greetings. If someone is working, someone has left work, or even if at home doing house chores or whatever, after asking them, then they respond, bulungi sebo, or bulungi nyabo. You can go ahead and after asking them, they will also respond bulungi. Then you go ahead and try to find out how they've been at work. Webale milimo. Thank you for the work you've been doing, whatever they've been doing. If they have been in the garden, webale okulima. If they have been maybe milking or doing house chores, say webale milimo, because milimo generalizes all the jobs at work. Webale milimo. If there are many, you say webale milimo. And then the response to that is kale, wena, or mwena, because they also assume you're also coming from work or wherever you're coming from. So after responding that kale, they will also say mwena or wena, literally meaning wena is the same, like literally refers to wena webale minimo. So to cut it short, they just say wena. Mwena. Then you can go ahead to ask, how about the people you found there, or the people you've left there, or the people who are home? If there are people who are home, you say, in brackets, we in bracket we explain that is how are the home people. The pronunciation is very key, and the response is balungi. Ateiwe meaning, and how are those people at your home? So the key thing here is for every greeting, we assume the response, my side may not be the response, your side. So if you're asking about how are my home people, I will say they are fine. Then I will also love to know how your home people are. Your home people may not be fine. If they are fine, you say balungi. If they are not fine, if there is someone who is sick, you say baluaire. Or if there is anything, like it may not necessarily be that what is happening from my home or where I'm coming from is the same thing happening where you're coming from. So those are some of the additional greetings. The notes will be shared. Yvette will share the notes, and then there will be more to that, additional greetings and the like. This is what I felt very necessary to share for now. So Yvette, let's proceed to our next when it gets to relationships. Yeah. Okay. Wow. I guess you people are loving Lusoga. I'm proud of it. I'm proud to be a Lusoga, because our greeting is very interesting. We want to get to the detail of everything. We want to know the details of everything. So there is even that greeting of Isuko Wicheire. Actually, that is an additional greeting to the good morning. Someone says bulungi, and then you want to people through at night go through different things. Some people have bad dreams, some people have headaches, some people have all sorts. So in Lusoga, we consider a night covered well. By the time you wake up, we want to I could call it to it's a way of Okwisusa is like welcoming you. So it's like welcome you from that night. So someone would say, isuko bucheire, as in that morning. Because when it gets to morning, they say, obwire bucheire. So they say, isuko bucheire. It can literally mean, how was your night? Because until it is morning, we consider that night. So whatever happens in there, whether good or bad, in the morning, someone has to wish you to appreciate your wish you with passing through that night. So someone will say, isuko bucheire. Then your response is kale wena, literally meaning kale. Another person will say kale wena isuko bucheire. But then the simple way, to cut it short, you say kale wena. If there are many, you say kale mwena, because sometimes you can generalize greeting. When there are many, you say mwisuko bucheire. Then they can respond in unison that kale mwena. So that is an additional greeting as well. There are quite many of them. We will get to learn others as we get along. But I picked out the key ones so that when you hear people out there speaking them, or when you also start practicing them, they become part of you and they are not new to you. So those are some of the additional greetings. Key things: kale is a response. Bulungi is a response, like meaning what I explained in those notes. Yeah, so about relationships. Yes, if I'm waiting for you to share the next slide.
Yes, I have advanced the slide.
Wow. Relationships come from families. And for us, as I briefed you, in Lusoga, whether there are many families or it's one family, we refer to them as amaka. So like all other cultures, we Basoga organized in settings called families. And a family may be nuclear, that is, as of now, most families are nuclear, or some are extended, like how they used to be, most of them in times of old. Most of our families were extended, but as time has gone on, migrated to different places, so you kind of stay with the nuclear family, but it's still the relationships still connect with the different people we've left in different places, but when we are from the same lineage. So majorities of the families are extended. That is, they include some close and sometimes distant relatives, but when we are coming from the same lineage. So in Lusoga, members of families derive their attachment from the family lineage. How you say I'm related to that person, in most cases, it is family lineage. Either you share a grandmother with them, either you share a grandfather with them, or you share a daddy with them, or you share an uncle with them. So the family expands and gets on, like that's how the extended family setting comes up. So the members may be from the same lineage, but may not necessarily be staying together. Like most of you, our relatives, you're staying in the US, we are back here in Uganda. There are people staying in different parts of the world, but we are one family. So when we are talking about amaka or families, that is briefly a background about our families in Lusoga. I hope you're following. Yes, Sylvie.
I have advanced the slide.
Yeah. Wow. So our families, as I explained, I briefed you that we derive our lineage or attachment to the family through the lineage. So a family has very many people and goes on expanding. So I picked out the key ones, and then we would love to know the pronunciation, how we pronounce them. Family composition in Lusoga, when you're trying to define that or to term that, or when you're telling someone about family composition, we call it abaganibwa mumaka or abaganibwa mundu. When they are referring to a home, they may talk of maybe the great-great-grandfather. But then we all belong to that family. So when someone is referring the people who belong to that home, say abaganiwa mumaka. So there is a father in Lusoga. Father is called Lata. When I say my father, I say Lata wange. Then there is a mother in Lusoga. Mother is called Inina. Inina wange. Oyaba Inina wange, meaning she's my mother. Yeah, Ivi has highlighted abaganibwa mumaka. That is literally translating family composition. So abaganibwa mumaka. We removed amaka just because, just like English, we can't have two vowels next to each other, like mu, mumaka. That is some bit of English there, or like vocabulary and the like. But then maka is the same as amaka. So as explaining, we have father, that is Lata, called as Lata wange, Lata, as simple as that, just a four-letter word, Lata. Then we have Inina. Then a brother or a sister is called Mwanina. Mwanina means brother or sister, but it depends on who is calling, who is referring to the brother or sister. I will explain that in the coming slides. Then Mwanoko still means the same thing, brother or sister, but it still depends on who is using the statement. Then Muganda wange still means the same, brother or sister, but it depends on who is using the statement, as we will get to know. So if you notice, Mwanina, Mwanoko, Muganda wange all mean the same thing, but it depends, like they are used by different people and in different circumstances, as will be explained there. Then there is Senga. Senga is a paternal aunt. Senga literally means paternal aunt, the sister of your dad. That is what we call in Lusoga Senga. Then Ilato Muto, in Lusoga, the brother to your dad, whether is the elder brother to your dad, whether is the follower to your dad, as long as they're not your biological father, we call them Lato Muto, paternal uncle or brother to your father, regardless of regardless of their lineage, like who follows who. And then Inino Muto, still that one means maternal auntie or sister to your mother. In Lusoga, we call it Inina Omuto. And then there is this common word that we've taken up most of the Buganda pronunciation, but our pronunciation in Lusoga are a bit different somehow. Koida is the same as Koja in Luganda. Koida, those are very key people. Senga and Koja are very key people. I will explain that some other time, but you will get to understand why they are very key people. Koida means the maternal uncle or the brother to your mother. And then dad or musada means grandfather. That can be either maternal, that is the father to your mother, or the father to your dad. Those we refer to them in Lusoga as dada or musada. And then dada or mukazi means grandmother, the mother to your dad, or the mother to your father, dad or mukazi. So that is shared by both paternal and maternal. And then we want to know how, if it's how we refer to these people, how they are called, how they are referred to in Lusoga, because the latter is just one word, father, but it can be someone's father, or it can be my father, or it can be our father. So that is what I want to briefly share with you. Yes, Evie, I'm waiting on you. Wonderful, thank you. If it's a wife referring to her husband, if it's your mother referring, wow. If it's your mother referring to your dad, we call relationships or Uganda, the relationships. If it's your father referring to your mother, your mother says omwami wange, meaning my husband. And if it's someone else referring to your mother's husband or to your husband, that person says omwami wo, omwami wo. And then the next one is you, the man referring to the wife, or someone else referring to your wife. If it's a man referring to his wife, the man in Lusoga says omuchala wange, omuchala wange, meaning my wife. And if it's someone else referring to your wife, then that person in Lusoga says omuchala wo, omuchala wo. Omuchala wange means I'm the one saying my wife. And then someone else referring to my wife, that person says omuchala wo. In some instances, if they know you more, they can call you by the name. They say omuchala wa, like Andrew, omuchala wa Andrew. But if it's in general, like they don't want to be that specific, you say omuchala wo. And if it's a father or mother referring to their son, they say mutabani wange. The father or mother says, oh, a person referring to his or her son says mutabani wange. And if it's another person referring to your son, says mutabani wo. That is the spelling of mutabani, mutabani referring to my son. So son in Lusoga is called mutabani. Thanks for highlighting that, Evie. Then your daughter, or you referring to your daughter, or someone referring to your daughter, that person says, or you say muwala wange, my daughter, or muwala wo, when someone is referring to your daughter, muwala wo. Then I briefed you about Muganda wange, Mwanyinaza, and all that. So Muganda wange comes in here. Muganda wange is used by either a brother or a sister. It is used by a brother to refer to his fellow brother. Two boys from same dad, or even if from we refer to it as lata wango muto or lato muto, like the brother to your dad, your cousin in simple terms. So in Lusoga, you refer to them as muganda wange. You're referring to your fellow brother, muganda wange. And if it's a girl referring to her sister, you say still muganda wange. So that is why the same statement means is used by the different sex, but it mean to the same sex. So I call my brother muganda wange. My sister calls her sister muganda wange. So you will note where the difference comes in, because there is mwanyina, then there is mwanoko, but that will be explained. Then abana bange, if a mother or a father is referring to his children, they say abana bange. And if it's other people referring to your children, they say abana bo, abana. That is a collective word meaning children. Abana. In Lusoga, children are called abana. So if it is your children, you say abana bange. If it's someone else referring to your children, that person says abana bo in Lusoga. Then there is a grandchild or grandchildren. If it is one grandchild, in Lusoga we say mwidukulu. So your grandmother says, oyo mwidukulu wange. That is my grandchild. If you're many, your grandmother or grandfather says, vaidukulu bange, vaidukulu. Then you, the child, referring to your father, you say, lata wange. If it's someone else referring to your father, he says, lata wo. So lata means father. If you're the one referring, I'll say, Andrew, I'm referring to my dad. I say, lata wange. And if it's someone else or a friend referring to my dad, he says, lata wo. Literally meaning the father, your father, lata wo. Then inina wange, the same as we learned that inina means mother and lata means father. So when you're referring to your mother, you say inina wange. And when someone else is referring to your mother, they say inina wo. Those are very common words that we use while referring to relationships or Luganda. They are still, it's broad, relationships are broad, but these are the key ones that I felt you needed to know them, because even after this lesson, I'm sure some of you will speak perfect Lusoga by just using these very words, each rightly. Thank you, Yvette. I've talked, I've explained quite a lot. And I would love to say that for today, that is what we really wanted you to know about our heritage, Lusoga, about our language, Lusoga. And so I would love to welcome questions, which in Lusoga we call them ebigezo or ebibuzo. You know, sometimes we dilute, because Lusoga and Luganda are almost similar, but we call them ebigezo questions or ebibuzo. So I welcome questions, and then for some questions that we may not be able to answer right now, I'll request Yvette to share WhatsApp platform with you, so you can post those questions there, and I'll be readily available to answer them. Otherwise, thanks for being wonderful listeners, and I hope you've learned something. If not, you've learned quite a lot. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Andrew. It looks like in the chat, we have a few people that want to practice and some questions about pronunciation. Feel free to come off of mute to ask your questions. Your phone, it sounds a little bit choppy. But you can type your question as well, because we can't hear you. And as the gentleman is typing out that question, I think this was very resourceful. I know there were so many words that you've covered, Andrew, today. So we in the Twegaite team are really appreciative of this lesson and look forward to practicing with you today as well as the future lessons. And the question in the chat, we would like to know how to pronounce Gwe or GH. I'm not sure if you catch that in the chat, Andrew.
I think he left the meeting.
Oh, oops. No, you're right. I think maybe it's a connection issue. We can give him a moment to see if he's trying to reconnect. But I know if anyone on the call wants to chime in on how the appropriate pronunciation is, please do so. Feel free to come off of mute. Gentleman on the line who asked that question, I don't know your name. If you can tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Patrick. I'm in Switzerland right now. And yeah, I was wondering how you pronounce the GH because I didn't quite catch that during the call.
And it sounds just a little bit choppy. I'm not sure if it's the connection or the audio.
Now?
Oh yeah, that's a little bit better.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I was wondering about the GH because during the lesson I didn't quite understand how it is pronounced.
Okay, to the pronunciation, yes. Okay. And in the comments, the gentleman was pronouncing it like if it was W.
Yes, Evie, I'm back. Sorry for the interruption. Sorry. I apologize for that. At some point, I wasn't getting anyone. I don't know if you got me well.
Oh, thank you. No, we're happy that you were able to hop back on. We did have a question from PAST. Sorry, sir, I don't know your name, but he would like to know the proper pronunciation for the letters GH. And
Wow. Oh, the pronunciation. Actually, it's very interesting when in Lusoga, when we are pronouncing, in the pronunciation would sound the way. If I was thanking someone for doing whatever they've been doing, or someone has done me some favor and I'm thanking them, the pronunciation is webale or webale ino. But when it comes to writing, our way, yeah, thank you. We, meaning W-E, that is how you pronounce it in Uganda, we, or in Lusoga, we. But when you're writing, the G is silent, but then G accompanied by H is the really right pronunciation of we, webale. So every word, and then maybe I'm sure that question was informed or inspired by the difference here. Why didn't we use, since we said maybe where you're highlighting omwami wange, and then we wrote WA, why not if they are writing omwami wo, WO? WO is pronounced differently, and that's pronounced differently and cannot translate or bring out the like cannot rhyme with the pronunciation when you're referring to wo. That is WO. If it's a, wa, still it would be GHA. So WA, when writing it, we write it as GH. That is how the Lusoga, that's how the Lusoga vocabulary is written. But then while pronouncing it, GH, we pronounce it as wa. So if it's, yeah, that is when you're attaching a, wa. If you are attaching o, wo, that is meaning, like in this case, omwami wo, meaning your husband. So wo is written as GH, not WO, the way it is here. The pronunciation is literally almost the same, but it's very different. I hope that in that I've not confused you the more. I hope you pick something from that explanation.
Yes,
You're welcome.
Andrew, thank you.
Cynthia, I've seen, thank you so much. Yeah, passed. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
And we will make the slides available to everyone, as well as this session. It was recorded and will be available on the Twegaite YouTube channel.
Oh, thank you, Yvette. I pledge that the next time, all my gadgets will be in a very, very good shape so that you don't get the breaks and ons and offs, so that this time round we will be very interactive. And as an addition to the slides that Yvette is going to share, the call has been recorded, but I'm going to pick out the Lusoga words without their translations or without the explanation in English. So then I will share it with Yvette, and she will as well post it or share it with you. Otherwise, thanks for being wonderful listeners and learners. I thank you for the privilege of taking all of you through this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. And before we get off the line, I know if anyone has any questions, feel free to speak up. Also, Andrew, can you tell us what your favorite things about Basoga and the Lusoga language or culture are?
My favorite things about Lusoga, about we the Basoga, there are three key things that I know if you get time to relate with them, you definitely love them. The first one being our dressing, the way we the Basoga dress, the men in our kanzus and the coats, and the ladies in the gomeses with the chisibiro. That one is really something that I love so much about our culture. The second one is the way we dance. All the years that I was in when all the others was pursuing my degree at Makerere University, we used to have cultural galas. And I would honestly report to you that for all those cultural galas, it's the Lusoga that we're winning in the dances. So our dancing is so marvelous. It is something that I could share with you numerous videos of those dances. I'm sure you will all love it. Then the third one is about where God placed us as the Lusoga. Our region is very rich in everything. Our region, when you check, actually all those things are spoken about in our Lusoga anthem, our rich heritage. When I relate to our heritage, I just love our culture. I love our tribe. I love the Lusoga more. So those are the three things that I find so interesting and that I find so attaching, that I find myself very attached to the Lusoga. I'm never ashamed to be called a Lusoga, and I will never be.
Thank you. And it's very inspiring for us to continue learning, understanding our culture and the traditions. So again, thank you, Andrew, for this wonderful session. And we look forward to the next one in August, at the second week of August. And we'll send out the invite to everyone and post on the Facebook page for Twig-IT as well. If there aren't any other questions, thank you, everybody. Hueva leño, and have a great afternoon.